Welcome back to my channel. You guys, I hope you are all staying so safe and healthy. I know this is a super crazy time right now, so I am just trying to put some stuff out there to distract you and give you something else to watch. Today is focused completely, it looks like I have nothing on, I know, but today's video is focused completely on how to do under eye concealing without creasing for older skin. And I'm not talking old, I'm talking mid-30s to mid-40s. This is the age group that I'm coming into. These are things that I'm starting to apply when doing my own makeup and also applying to my clients. I have tried a couple of different techniques and I really have found that this one seems to be working the best for me lately, and so I wanna share this with you guys. I hope that you enjoy, and it is gonna be just skin, so if you're looking for something that is a little bit more eye focused or a full makeup, check out some of the videos that I will pop on the screen right now for you. And I will be doing a lot more content coming up as well, so stay tuned. I am somebody who has a little bit of wrinkling and creasing on the under eyes, so it's a lot of techniques about how I do my own skin. I also have hooded eyelids, so you'll see a lot of those tutorials on my channel as well. So if you want to see how to do concealer under the eyes, get that perfect, beautiful under eye with no creasing, then keep watching. I'm starting with a bare face. I just got out of the shower and haven't put anything on my skin yet. So if I had already been out doing anything, I probably would have wiped myself down with a micellar water just to remove any dirt or grime or anything that may have been on the skin before starting. So we are gonna start with a light mist. This is Badescu. Let's see if it'll focus. I'm gonna start with a light mist on the skin. I love doing this, especially on my own skin, for clients as well. It's just a facial spray. It's with aloe, herbs, and rose water. This one's awesome. And it just feels really nice. It's a great kind of like refresher. And just put a little hydration on the skin before we get going. The focus for today is really to show you how to apply concealers under the eyes without creating any creasing. So this is really, really important, especially as you start to do makeup on yourself as you're getting older, or on clients with more mature skin. I have a lot of crow's feet that are starting in the outer corners, and I'm noticing that just the skin just is not as full and beautiful as it used to be. These are tips that I have started doing on myself that work really well, but these are also, if you're a working makeup artist, great ways to apply different techniques to how you're doing mature clients or clients with skin that's kind of, I'm really talking about that in between age, right? Like between 30 and 45. And that I feel like is a huge skin shift between your 20s and then into your 50s and 60s when you start to age a little bit more. This is kind of that age group that I'm really focusing on right here, like mid 30s to mid 40s. Next, we're gonna go in with, this is Good Molecules. It's a silicone-free primer. And I love this brand in general. If you follow me on social media, you've probably seen me posting a couple of different products that I've been using of theirs for skincare. I really, really love everything so far. And this one's really cool. It's got shea butter, macadamia seed oil, and plant-derived silicone alternative. So if you are somebody who's looking to use something that's silicone-free, this is quickly becoming one of my favorite primers. 2 pumps on the back of my hand, and we're just gonna rub that into the skin. Benefit to this too is we're almost massaging the face and you're bringing blood flow to the skin, which just makes everything look healthier, happier, a lot better, ready to receive makeup. So I kind of put that all over. If you notice, I'm not putting too much pressure or any of that towards the under eye because I have a separate cream we're going to use there. So something that's great to do for aging under eyes is you want to work with a really good eye cream. So one that I use personally on myself is the Weleda Awakening Eye Cream. I love this one. Another one that I use in my kit for clients is the Badescu Hyaluronic Eye Cream. And hyaluronic brings moisture to the area. So something like that is always good because the more hydrated this under eye area is, the less likely it's gonna look aged cakey or have products settling into the wrinkles. So either one of those two I highly recommend. This is just what I've been using on myself personally. And I'm taking the tiniest little bit on my fingers and just gently working that into the under eye. We want to make sure it's all nice and really soaked in on the skin. Perfect. And another great product that I think, right, the better with age, everything, moisture, moisture, moisture. So another great product that I want to share is Water Balm Skin Prep by Sonia Roselli Beauty. Super, super hydrating. I love using this more on older clients, people with drier skin. It's just this beautiful texture. I don't know if you can really see. If you read a little bit about it on her website, she's based in Chicago. It's got this crazy water technology where it's like you start to press it into the skin and these beads of water just form, and it brings so much moisture and hydration to the skin. On a day-to-day basis, normally what I would do is I would go in and do eyes first to let all of this soak in. But for today, I'm really just, for this video, we're focusing just on skin and really teaching you how to work on that under eye area. So we're gonna let this soak in and then give it a couple of minutes. What's nice is if you're doing this on yourself, like put on that prep that we just did, go make a coffee, check some emails, you know, anything like that. Give yourself a couple of minutes because you really do want to give these products time to absorb into the skin. If you just start piling stuff on top one after another, they're not really going to do what they're supposed to do. You want to give them time to really work within the skin before you layer new products on top. I figured we'll just chat for a couple of minutes while I let this soak in. I know this is kind of a really crazy time that's going on right now, and so I'm hoping that I'm doing some of these videos will just help give you a distraction to what's going on, and hopefully we won't all be stuck inside for much longer. But if we are, I will just continue to make more things like this for you guys. I hope everybody is staying super safe and healthy out there. One other thing I was gonna mention, what was it? Okay, well my brain's gone. We have given the skin time to absorb. A little backstory about me. I have a 18-month-old daughter, and I would like to think that a lot of these new wrinkles that have been forming are from her. I like to call my wrinkles old age and baby formed, and I love the age I am, but I definitely have noticed like a huge change in my skin having a kid. I mean, that stuff happens, right? You get old, it's cool, it's all good. It's also changed the way I'm applying stuff to my clients. So I'm loving it. It's really cool. It's a fun way to experiment. And so this is why I'm sharing all this with you guys. One more thing I wanted to say, if you are gonna put an SPF on, I do live in the desert, so SPF is a huge importance here. But if you are gonna do an SPF, you really wanna give that time to work itself into the skin before you apply anything on top. I'm gonna mix a couple of different products, and these are tinted moisturizers and a foundation. They have SPF in them, so that's where my SPF will be for my application. But if you are doing it in the prep stages, definitely give your skin time to absorb. I'm going to be taking the Cle CCC Cream. This Cle Cosmetics is new to me. I've just started using this probably this month, and I feel like I've turned a bunch of clients and friends onto it. I freaking love this product. It's just amazing. I'm not somebody who likes to wear a lot of makeup day to day anyway, so I really just love something to maybe even out like a couple of the, you know, uneven skin tone or blemishes that I have on my skin, but I don't want to put a full face on, right? Like, I don't want to do that, to just go out and do a couple things here or there. This has SPF 50, which is huge, and it's the micro capsule technology. So what's really cool is, and I'll show you guys, when you first, well, I'm dropping stuff here. When you first put it onto your fingers, it almost has this like grainy beaded gray texture. If you guys can see that, it's not gonna focus. But as I rub it together into my hands, it starts to turn into a skin tone. Yeah, there we go. So it like almost starts to react to your skin tone. And they have a huge shade range. So it's not just one color fixes all. They do have a great range, and from light to really deeper skin tones, which is awesome. This one is the shade medium. I just rub the littlest amount into my fingers and then work it into the skin. And it's light. I mean, this is definitely light coverage. I mean, if you're seeing it in camera, look, it's just evening everything out. You can still see some of my blemishes. It's not gonna be a full coverage hide-all, fix-all thing, right? And with my concealer, I'll go in and fix some of those spots. I like to rub a little bit over the eyelids, especially if I'm not gonna be doing any eye makeup, like say I'm just popping mascara on and leaving. That way my skin tone on my lids is not completely different from the rest of my face. Biggest tip I can say is the less product, the better. When you have skin underneath that tends to crease more often, the more product you put under there, the more it's gonna crease, or the more you're apt to have creasing. Most of my, like I've lost a little bit of fullness here, which creates that shadow. But color-wise, I'm fortunate enough that I don't have a lot of uneven coloring going on under my eyes. I don't have really deep purple or deep greens or anything like that. So I don't have to do a lot of color correcting under the eyes. Almost everybody, and this is obviously case by case basis, but very little people have a lot of discoloration out here. This is where you see a lot of creasing. With that in mind, if your skin tone out here is pretty even, you don't need to put any concealer or any color there, right? Because if it's already even with your skin tone, you don't have to do a lot of work. So we're gonna keep the outer parts of the eyes pretty clean. We put a little bit of that tinted moisturizer, but that's really it. We're gonna focus that concealer in the areas that we need it, keep it away from where we don't, so that there's less product there to settle into creases. I'm going to use 2 different concealers here. These are by Nars, and I use on myself these little travel ones because they're so teeny and adorable, but they're really easy to pack. I'm gonna mix the shade Custard and the shade Ginger. I'm only gonna use like a littlest bit of each. These are a little bit more matte. They're a creamy concealer, but I do like the finish of them. And you guys, I'm taking the littlest bits, right? So I took 2 little dabs, and my next trick for you is to use an eyeshadow brush. So I'm gonna use a blending brush because I wanna buff this color into the skin rather than a flat synthetic brush and lay it on top. Because again, the less product we use, the better. I'm gonna take my Cle Cosmetics 232 brush. This is a big fluffy blending eyeshadow brush. Say that 6 times fast. And I'm just gonna focus on the areas that have the most uneven skin tone or coloration. So we're gonna start in that inner corner. Okay, and I'm lightly buffing this into the skin. Focusing on that inner corner and then working my way out. Now already, look at the difference, right? Littlest bit goes a long, long way. Carefully. I'm also a huge fan of using your fingers, especially in these areas. The less pulling on the skin, the better. So when I do go in, middle finger and press, and I'm kind of working that product up towards the inner corner of the eye and then up towards the lid, so that I'm not necessarily taking a brush up there. I tend to have really watery eyes. If you get a lot of stuff going on near my eyes, under my eyes, I start to get pretty teared up. So nice. And it's so light. And you saw, I am not going anywhere out this way. We're gonna do the same thing to that other side. And I love using this because the heat from your skin helps emulsify the product and work it right into that under eye. And then I'm just gonna take whatever is left on my brush, and there's really nothing left on my hand, and you can see it's really matching nicely into my skin tone. I'm just gonna spot treat here. I've got a couple of spots, just lightly. There we go. So spot treating anywhere you might see a couple of areas. So again, a little bit differently how I would do this now versus when I was younger. I'm not gonna go in with that product and put a ton of product in all of these different places all over the face, because it's just not gonna work. It's gonna be too much product. It's gonna be moving all over the place. It's gonna settle into spots you don't want, and that's why I highly recommend, this is on myself, so I'm okay to work off my hand. taking the littlest bit of product, slowly taking your time, and you'll get a nice, perfect complexion. We have got concealer everywhere that we want it. I've given it just a couple minutes to really settle in. And another important part about letting it settle is you're gonna see if you've put too much product under there still, even with the light application that we did, or if you didn't put maybe enough, and that way you can kind of go back in and fix. Maybe you go back in, if you put a little bit too much product, you can take that same brush that you were using and continue to buff out and work out some of that product. After you've had this product on for a few minutes, you'll start to see if you've put just the right amount or too much or not enough, because if I look at my eyes and I'm looking down into my mirror here and I don't see a lot of creasing going on, so I'm not seeing a lot of product settling into wrinkles, and I spot treated some of the spots that I needed some extra love and extra coverage. Last little bit that I do for everyday type of makeup, I'm gonna take the YSL Fusion Ink Foundation, and I've taken the shade B30. It's a little bit more on the yellow tone, which I do have a bit of yellow in my skin. I have a bit of redness in my face, but my skin tone is a little bit more on the yellow side. A Zoeva stippling brush, and I've just put a little bit on the back of my hand here. This is a super, super light foundation. I love that lightweight, little bit. And I just, you know, a little bit of extra love just to even out skin tone a little bit more than, you know, if you just want a little bit more than that tinted CC Cream was doing, I just kind of like to add this little layer on top. I love this again for older skin tones. I have a lot of women who actually prefer to use like a tinted moisturizer that, you know, they say, I don't like to put a lot of foundation on my skin. I feel like that's when I start to look older. And if that's the case, something like this would be a great option where you do most of the coverage with the CC Cream and the lightest amount of a foundation formula like this one. Oh, and it smells so good. I mean, for the purpose of this video, this is what we want. Obviously, I'm looking totally washed out now because my skin's all evened out. If I was continuing, I would be going in with blush, maybe a little bit of some bronzer, kind of give some more depth and color back into the skin, but we're not focusing on that today. So we've got all our liquid products. Everything is good to go. I'm happy with how everything's feeling. And that under eye, I'm gonna zoom in for you guys. This next part is where you can make or break everything you've done. So this is super important. So for this, I'm gonna use the Dior Nude Skin Air, the loose powder. I love this stuff. What I've been doing on myself, what's been working really well, is using a sponge. So for this, I've been using these super teeny. They're absolutely adorable. They're by a company called Thirties, which I also love because I'm in my 30s. And what I'm gonna do is quick again, that same spray we did before, just a refresh on the face, hydrate everything back in, and a spritz on the sponge. So I dipped the littlest bit of powder just onto the tip, okay? Next, we take it right to that under eye corner. That sponge fits perfectly. And I'm pressing the littlest bit. So what that does, look at that. It's gonna mattify that area. And it smooths it all out, but I used only in that really inner corner, because that's where I worry about the most stuff. This out here, we really didn't put any product, so I'm just gonna take that sponge, there's nothing really left on there, and just press outwards. But that's it. That is it. The littlest bit, tiny bit of product. There's like nothing on here, you guys. Taking whatever's left. If you wanted to, you could take a little bit more powder and go into those other spots that might have, you know, you might settle into your smile lines around the nose. I haven't added any more, I'm just using that sponge. Done. This is the exact way I've been doing under eye concealer on my clients, especially my mature clients, and I do this on myself. Try it at home. There's a couple of different powders you can use. You don't necessarily have to use this one. Laura Mercier's Eye Brightening Under Eye Loose Powder, I think that's what it's called, is a great one. RCMA powder, tried and true. There's a few I'll link below, so you have a couple of options, but if you can see, let's see if it'll focus. Nice and even. This is it. This is all I wanted to focus on. Super quick, informative tutorial. Just wanted to give you these tips and tricks. Everything that I used and some other suggestions of what you can be using will be linked below for you. If you wanted anything else in more of an in-depth kind of description of how I'm doing anything, let me know. I'm happy to answer all of those questions. Please let me know if there's anything else you want to learn or specifics. I'm happy to do a bunch of this while we're all stuck at home. Please be sure to give this some thumbs. Please be sure to give this a thumbs up if you liked it. Be sure to subscribe. That way you will get updates every time I upload something new. I hope to see you all soon and wish you all a happy, safe weekend.